The deal no one expected. The market was loud, smoky, and filled with every kind of creature in the galaxy. Traders barked out prices. Faded lights flickered overhead, casting shadows that made everyone's faces look hard and cruel. Humans were rare here, but Ethan walked straight down the center aisle, not afraid. Even when the crowd parted for him with cold eyes, he wasn't looking for trouble. He just wanted his cargo, some machine parts for his ship. But today was different. The air felt heavy, like something was about to happen. A large alien with 4 arms and a face covered in blue. Scales slammed a staff on the ground. The room went silent. Next lot. The auctioneer bellowed. A curtain at the side of the stage pulled back. 2 girls, identical, stepped forward. Their skin shimmered softly under the dirty lights, a pale lilac with markings like silver leaves. Their long dark hair fell in tangled waves, hiding their faces. They wore thin rags and heavy metal collars. Twin slave girls. The auctioneer shouted, "A rare find! Young, healthy, obedient, both for the price of one." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Someone yelled, "Let's see if humans are as soft as they say." Ethan tried not to look. But as the girls stepped into the spotlight, their eyes met. His wide, scared, and silent. He saw something in them. Not fear, or not just fear. Hope, like maybe, for once, someone might be kind. A fat trader nudged Ethan, grinning. "Go on, human. You want a reward, don't you? Everyone here knows. Your kind likes to play hero. Take them. Show us what you'll do." Ethan's fists clenched. He hated this place, hated what it stood for. But something stopped him from walking away. The girls couldn't have been more than 16, maybe younger. Their wrists were bruised. From old chains, the auctioneer eyed Ethan, sensing an easy sale. "Special deal for the human. You helped the syndicate last week. Yes, these 2 are yours free of charge. Just sign the papers and they're your property now." The room went still. Even the other traders seemed surprised. Free slaves. 4. A human? No one did that. Ethan stared at the girls. His heart pounded. He remembered his sister, back on Earth, how scared she'd been. Once, lost in a crowd, looking for a kind face. He looked up. "I'll take them," he said quietly. The auctioneer's smile grew sharp. Papers appeared. Chains rattled as the twins were dragged down from the stage. They did not cry out. They just stared at the floor, waiting for pain, as the guards pushed the girls toward Ethan. He put up his hands. "Easy," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." One girl flinched. The other kept her head down. Ethan crouched, so he wasn't towering over them. "Are you cold?" he asked. "Do you want water?" Neither answered. Their fear was like a wall. Ethan turned to the crowd. "Can I get a blanket?" he said, voice strong. "And some food." For them, they look hungry. A ripple of shock went through the room. No one expected that. A trader snorted. "You're wasting your time. They're just property, human." But Ethan didn't care. He put his jacket over the nearest girl's shoulders. She froze, confused by the gentle touch. "You're safe now," he said quietly. "I promise." The auctioneer laughed. "Don't break them, human. Some of us paid good money for that pair. Don't think kindness will get you far here." Ethan ignored him. He looked each girl in the eye. "My name is Ethan," he said. "What are your names?" For a moment, neither answered. Then, barely a whisper, one said, "Lyra." The other followed Nira. Ethan smiled. "Lyra and Nira. Good. Let's get you out of here." He stood up, placing himself between the twins and the crowd. People were still watching, some curious, some angry. A few muttered that Ethan was ruining the fun. But no one stopped him as he led the girls away from the stage. Outside, the air was cold and sharp. Ethan took the twins to a quiet corner and handed them water. They drank quickly, eyes darting, not sure if this was another trick. Ethan knelt down so he was eye level. "I'm not like them," he said. "You're safe with me. I won't let anyone hurt you again." The girls didn't answer, but for the first time, Lyra looked up and held his gaze. In that moment, Ethan made a silent vow. No matter what it took, he would protect them. But deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere in the shadows, angry eyes watched them go. And in the dirty, dangerous streets of the alien city, kindness was the most dangerous thing of all. New chains. New choices. The alien city's night was cold, the kind of cold that found its way into bones and memories. Ethan led the twins through narrow, twisting alleys. Neon lights buzzed above strange shops. Shadows pressed close. Lyra and Nira stayed silent, walking close behind Ethan as if one wrong step might make the world vanish. No one said a word. At every street corner, the twins' eyes darted, looking for danger, searching for the angry faces from the market. Ethan noticed how Nira squeezed her sister's hand, refusing to let go. Finally, Ethan stopped outside a tiny food stall run by a wrinkled alien woman with 3 eyes and a gold tooth. The smell of hot broth and sweet bread filled the air. The woman glanced up, surprised to see a human with 2 trembling alien girls. "1 bowl of soup and 2 pieces of bread," Ethan said. The woman raised an eyebrow. "For them," Ethan nodded. "And water. They're hungry." The woman muttered something in her own language, but quickly filled 2 bowls. Lyra and Nira waited, still afraid to hope. Ethan gave them the food. They hesitated, glancing up, but when Ethan only smiled and stepped back. They ate in silence, finishing every crumb. As the girls ate, Ethan watched the crowd. Some faces were curious, others looked disgusted, even angry. A group of young aliens whispered and pointed. One spat on the ground. "Humans got a taste for pets," one said with a sneer. Ethan heard it, but kept his eyes on the twins. He wouldn't let hate spoil this moment. He led the girls away from the food stall, deeper into the city's maze. "Are you warm enough?" Ethan asked quietly. Akachi Lyra nodded, clutching his jacket tight. Nira, a step behind, still glanced over her shoulder. Watching every shadow, Ethan stopped in front of a small shop where a tired robot sold cheap blankets and simple clothes. He bought a soft blue blanket and handed it to the girls. For a moment, Lyra hugged it to her chest as if afraid it might vanish. Suddenly, a group of boys blocked the alley ahead. Their eyes glittered. "Nice prizes, human," one called. "You want to sell them to us? Or are you just showing off?" Ethan kept his voice calm. "Let us pass." But the boys laughed, stepping closer. Lyra hid behind Ethan. Nira froze. Breathing fast, Ethan took a step forward. "They're not for sale. Move." One boy shoved him. "What will you do, human?" Ethan stared back, not blinking. "Try me." For a tense moment, the boys hesitated. A merchant shouted from a doorway. "Leave them alone. City guards are coming." The boys cursed and melted into the shadows. Lyra whispered, "Why? Why do they hate us?" Ethan knelt. "It's not about you, Lyra. Some people only see what they want." "But you're not what they say." Nira's lip trembled. "We are just slaves. Why do you care?" Ethan's face softened. "Because you deserve better. No one is just a slave." The twins looked at each other, unsure. Kindness was a language they had never learned. They reached Ethan's small rented room above a noisy market. The stairs creaked as they climbed. At the door, Ethan paused. "You're safe here. But you don't have to trust me. You can leave anytime." The girls didn't move. They waited for orders, for new chains, for rules. Ethan just opened the door and let them choose. Inside, the room was plain but warm. 2 clean blankets, a heater, some bread. Ethan motioned for them to sit. He poured water into metal cups. "You don't have to talk if you don't want, but I'll listen if you ever do." Lyra sat on the bed, still hugging her blanket. Nira sat on the floor, staring at her hands. Ethan leaned back in a chair, tired but watching them. The city's noise floated up, music, arguments, sirens. For a long time, no one spoke. Finally, Lyra whispered, "What happens now?" Ethan looked. "Up, now you rest. Tomorrow, we decide together." Nira's voice was tiny. If we run away, will you chase us?" Ethan shook his head. "No, you are free now, I promise." The girls' faces showed shock, then confusion. No one had ever said those words before. The room was quiet, except for the gentle hum of the heater. Lyra pulled the blanket up and closed her eyes, still expecting to wake in chains. Nira watched Ethan, trying to find the trap. But there was nothing, just quiet kindness. Down in the street, the voices rose again. Some wanted the old ways. Some whispered about the crazy human who ruined the game. But up in the small room, hope was starting, even if the girls couldn't believe it yet, as Ethan watched the twins finally drift to sleep. He made a silent promise. No matter what danger waited outside, he would never chain them. He would never let them feel worthless again. But even he couldn't see the dark eyes watching from across the street, waiting for a chance to take the twins back. The city would not let them go so easily. And tomorrow, a new choice would change everything. First night, first tears when the door shut behind them. Lyra and Nira pressed close together. The lock clicked. The small room above the noisy market suddenly felt too quiet. In every corner, the shadows looked thick and deep. Lyra hugged the blue blanket to her chest. Nira's hands wouldn't stop shaking. Ethan dropped the key on a tiny table and turned on a warm yellow light. The girls flinched at the sudden brightness. He watched them carefully, moving slowly, not wanting to scare them. "You can take the bed," he said softly, "or sleep on the mat if you want. There's food, too. Eat whenever you're hungry." But the twins didn't move. Their minds spun with memories of other locked rooms, other owners, cruel voices, harsh commands. No one had ever let them choose. Lyra waited for the orders to come. Nira waited for pain. Ethan sighed, took off his jacket, and sat in the corner, leaving space between them. He took out a small radio and played gentle music, hoping it would help. For a few moments, the music filled the room with soft sounds, most like safety. Outside, the market slowly quieted. But inside, time moved slowly. Lyra watched Ethan out of the corner of her eye. Why was he not yelling? Why was he not giving orders? She almost wished he would, just so she could understand the rules. Nira finally broke the silence, voice just a whisper. "Why did you take us?" Ethan didn't answer at first. He seemed to think for a long time, then looked up, meeting Nira's eyes. "I couldn't leave you there," he said, voice heavy. "I saw my little sister in you. She was scared once, too. Someone helped her. Now it's my turn to help." Lyra looked down. The words made no sense. Kindness had always come with a price, and she didn't know what Ethan wanted. "Are you going to sell us?" she asked, afraid. Ethan shook his head. "No, I don't want anything from you. I just want you to be safe." The girls went quiet again. Lyra tried to believe, but years of being owned, ordered, and hurt built thick walls inside her heart. Nira stared at her sister, searching for answers, but Lyra only looked away. After a while, Ethan set a small bowl of warm soup on the table and a loaf of bread beside it. "If you want, eat. If you want, Sleep. I'll be here, but I won't hurt you. The scent of soup filled the room, warm and comforting. Neera's stomach growled, but she waited for permission, like always. Ethan nodded gently, so she crept forward and took a small sip. Lyra followed, sitting close to her sister. They ate in silence, never taking their eyes off Ethan. When the food was gone, Ethan pulled a thin blanket over himself on the cold floor. He left the bed for them, but the twins chose to sleep huddled together on the mat. They had always been. Safer this way, shoulder to shoulder, backs to the wall. The city outside went quiet, and for the first time in days, Lyra and Neera felt their eyes grow heavy. Still, they fought sleep, afraid it was a trick. Lyra kept her eyes open the longest, watching Ethan breathe slowly in the corner. He didn't move. He didn't yell. He just slept. That's when the tears finally came, quiet, hidden, but real. Lyra covered her face and sobbed. Neera hugged her tight, whispering that they would survive, like always. But this time, there was a strange new feeling mixed with the fear. Something small, something impossible. Hope. Ethan stirred in the night, hearing the quiet crying. He didn't get up. He just whispered, "It's okay. No one will hurt you here." The words felt like magic. Lyra's tears slowed. Neera buried her face in her sister's shoulder, finally closing her eyes. For the first time since they were captured, sleep came without nightmares. As the sun rose, a thin ray of light slipped through the window and landed on the twins' faces. They woke slowly, confused to find their muscles loose, their minds clear. For the first time, there were no bruises, no new pain. Ethan was already awake, standing by the window and watching the city wake up. He smiled at them. "Good morning, Lyra. Good morning, Neera." The girls didn't answer, but something in their eyes had changed. Suspicion was still there, but the sharpest edge of fear was gone. The first night was over. It had ended with tears, but also with the tiniest seed of trust. And neither Lyra nor Neera knew that outside, on the street below, trouble was already waiting for their new protector. Tomorrow would not be easy. But for one night, the twins had slept free. The first kindness the city woke up loud and wild. But inside Ethan's small room, the morning was slow, gentle. Lyra and Neera opened their eyes together, blinking at sunlight on the faded walls. For a moment, both sisters thought maybe it was a dream. Then they saw each other's faces, saw Ethan by the window, and remembered no chains, no shouting, no pain. Ethan turned with a small smile, holding out fresh clothes. The fabric was plain, but clean, folded carefully. "I found these last night," he said softly. "You can change here or in the bathroom if you want privacy." Lyra stared at the clothes, not sure what to do. Neera clutched her blanket tighter, as if afraid it would be taken away. For so long, even small gifts had been tricks. Ethan stepped back, keeping his voice calm. "You decide. I'll wait outside." He left the room, closing the door behind him. The girls looked at each other. Neera whispered, "Do you trust him?" Lyra hesitated, then shook her head. "No, but he's different." They changed quickly, hiding their bruises. The new clothes were warm, soft. Neera touched her shirt and smiled for just a moment, then made the smile vanish. Hope was still dangerous. When Ethan came back, he found them standing by the window, both looking at the city below. He brought breakfast: fresh bread, fruit, and a jug of sweet juice. The twins' eyes widened. They had never seen so much food. Just for them, Ethan sat on the floor, not wanting to scare them. "You don't have to eat if you're not hungry, but you can if you want." At first, Lyra and Neera only watched him, waiting for anger, for a trick. But Ethan just broke off a piece of bread and ate it himself. making a silly face as if to prove it was safe. Nira giggled a tiny sound, quickly hidden. Lyra tried a grape, then Nira did too. Soon, both girls were eating quietly, hungrily, but not like animals anymore. For the first time, Ethan saw them as more than survivors, he saw them as children. When the food was gone, Ethan brought out a small notebook and a marker. "I don't know your language," he admitted, "but maybe you can teach me a word, and I'll teach you one in English." He drew a clumsy picture of a sun, then wrote the word sun. Lyra and Nira looked at each other, confused, then whispered a word in their own tongue. The lesson went slowly. The twins were shy, but curious. When Ethan made a mistake, he laughed at himself, and that made Nira laugh again. Lyra tried to hide her smile, but it slipped out. All morning, Ethan tried to show them that kindness didn't have to be scary. He let them choose which fruit to eat. He let them take turns with the notebook. When Lyra accidentally spilled juice, Ethan only smiled and helped her clean up. No one yelled, no one hit. It felt like learning to breathe again, but the peace didn't last. As the sun climbed higher, the city outside grew louder. A voice shouted in the alley below. Footsteps stopped at their door. Ethan went very still. He put a finger to his lips. The girls froze, eyes wide. A heavy knock shook the door. "Open up. Routine check," barked a harsh voice. Ethan motioned the twins toward the bathroom, whispering, "Stay quiet. Hide if you need to." Lyra and Nira slipped behind the bathroom door, holding each other. Ethan opened the main door just a crack. 2 city guards stood outside, both tall, wearing black uniforms and bored faces. "What's your business here, human?" one demanded. Ethan kept his face calm. "I'm just a trader. Rented the room last night." The guard sniffed the air, looking over Ethan's shoulder. "You're not alone, are you?" Ethan shrugged. "Just me and my workers. They're sleeping." The guard stepped in, looking around, but didn't push past Ethan. "Keep out of trouble," one warned. "Some traders think humans can do what they want, but this city has rules. Understand?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, sir." The guards finally left, stomping down the stairs. Ethan shut the door, his hands shaking a little. When he signaled it was safe, the twins crept out. Nira's eyes were huge with fear. Lyra clutched Ethan's sleeve just for a second. "You're safe," Ethan said, though he was still trying to believe it himself. Outside, city voices rose again, lalers, traders, threats, and laughter. But inside the small room, something new was growing. For the first time, Lyra and Nira felt like maybe, just maybe, they belonged to themselves. Ethan sat back, exhausted but smiling, as the twins drew small suns and stars in his notebook. He knew they were still afraid, and the city was still dangerous. But today, for a few hours, kindness was enough. And outside, in the noisy street, a shadow watched their window, waiting for the next move. Secrets and Shadows evening came fast in the alien city. The sky outside Ethan's window burned gold, then deep purple. Lyra and Nira watched the lights flicker across rooftops. For the first time, they weren't scared of the dark. Inside, the room felt almost safe warm with laughter, tiny drawings on the walls, and half-finished lessons written in Ethan's notebook. But safety was fragile. Ethan knew it. He listened to every sound in the hallway, watched every shadow. More than once, he saw the same strange figure leaning near the fruit vendor, always glancing up at their window before melting away. After supper, Ethan taught the girls how to lock the door and wedge a chair under the handle. "Some people in this city," he warned softly, "don't like what I did. If anyone tries to come in, you hide in the bathroom. Don't open the door. Not for anyone except me." Lyra nodded, serious. Nira asked, "Will they take us back?" Ethan's jaw tightened. Not if I can help it. But you have to promise if you see someone strange, hide. The twins shared a look, silent agreement passing between them. For so long, they'd only survived by trusting each other. Now, little, they were starting to trust Ethan too. Later, as the city's noise faded, Nira tugged Ethan's sleeve. "Will you tell us about Earth?" He smiled, surprised. "What do you want to know?" Lyra spoke for the first time in a while. "Is it beautiful?" Ethan sat down between them, thinking. Some places are. Some are crowded, noisy, just like here. But there are forests, mountains, snow. My family lived by a lake at night. You could see stars in the water. Lyra and Nira listened with wide eyes. They had never seen a lake, never tasted snow. Do humans own slaves? Lyra whispered. Ethan shook his head. No, not anymore. Long ago, yes, but people fought to end it. Now, everyone is supposed to be free. Nira's eyes filled with hope and doubt all at once. Will we ever be free? She asked, voice small. Ethan reached out, careful not to startle them. You are free now, as much as I can make it. But you have to be careful. Some people want to keep you as property. I can't change the whole city, but I can keep you safe while you're with me. A heavy silence fell. Lyra chewed her lip. Then took a deep breath. Can I tell you a secret? Ethan nodded, gentle. You can tell me anything. Lyra's hands trembled as she spoke. The man who owned us, he was afraid of us. Not just because we were twins, but she hesitated, searching for words because sometimes when we were angry or scared, things moved. By themselves. Once, a bowl flew off a table. Another time, the lights went out. He said we were cursed. That's why he sold us cheap. Nira whispered, we never meant to hurt anyone. It just happens. Ethan listened, surprised. He had heard stories about rare alien gifts, strange powers no one could explain. But seeing fear in their eyes, he didn't feel scared. He only felt more determined to help them. That doesn't make you bad, he said. It makes you special. But it also means we have to be careful. Don't show anyone else. Not until we know who to trust. A sudden sound below made all three jump. Voices argued in the alley. Ethan moved to the window, peeking through the curtain. The same shadowy figure stood near the vendor, talking to two others. They looked upright at Ethan's window. Ethan drew back fast, heart pounding. He turned to the girls. Pack your things. Only what you can carry. We might have to move. Tonight, Lyra and Nira obeyed without question, quickly rolling up their new clothes and hiding the marker and notebook in a bag. Their old fear returned, heavy and sharp. Where will we go? Nira asked. Ethan forced a smile. I know a friend. He owes me a favor. If we're quick, maybe no one will follow. As they packed, Lyra's eyes filled with tears. Sorry, she whispered. We bring trouble. Ethan knelt beside her. You bring hope. I won't let anyone take you. They waited until the street was almost empty. Ethan led them out the back door, through shadows and quiet alleys. Every sound made the girls flinch, but Ethan kept one hand on their shoulders, guiding them with steady courage. Behind them, the shadowy figure stepped into the light, watching, silent and patient. In this city, no kindness went unpunished for. Long as they slipped away into the night, Lyra squeezed Ethan's hand. For the first time, she believed he really might save them or die trying. Stand and protect the night swallowed them as Ethan led Lyra and Nira through crooked alleys and dark, dripping tunnels beneath the alien city. Every step echoed. The girls clung to his hands, their hearts pounding like drums. Behind them, the streets never truly slept. Shouts, footsteps, laughter. and sometimes the low growl of distant engines chased their shadows. Ethan's mind raced, mapping the safest path. The city was a maze, and danger lurked at every corner. He paused in an empty courtyard, checking over his shoulder. The girls' faces were pale in the moonlight, but their eyes were clear no longer, just frightened, but determined too. "We're almost there," Ethan whispered. "Stay close. Don't speak unless I say." Lyra nodded. Nira held her bag tight. The three slipped along a broken fence, past a locked gate. Ethan's friend, a mechanic named Tarek, lived above his workshop, and he owed Ethan a big favor. But as they turned the final corner, Ethan froze. Three figures waited in the alley, blocking their path. At the front was the shadowy trader who'd watched their window, flanked by two rough-looking guards. Their faces were hidden, but Ethan could feel the anger rolling off them. Well. Human, the trader sneered. "Thought you could steal from me? Give the girls back, and maybe we won't break your legs." Ethan stepped in front of Lyra and Nira, arms spread wide. "They're not yours. You sold them. Leave us alone." One guard laughed, showing sharp teeth. "You're outnumbered, human. Move aside, or you'll regret it." The girls trembled, but Lyra grabbed Ethan's sleeve. Nira squeezed her sister's hand so hard her knuckles turned white. Ethan drew a slow breath, trying to hide his fear. "I'm not fighting you," he said quietly, "but I won't let you hurt them." The traitor spat. "Weak. You don't even know what they are. That's why I want them back before the wrong people find out." Nira whimpered, stepping closer to Ethan. Lyra's eyes flashed, silver patterns glowing faintly on her skin. Ethan put a hand on Lyra's shoulder. "Don't use your power. Not yet," he whispered. The traitor took a step forward, raising his arm. "Take them." The guards lunged. Ethan shoved the girls behind him, bracing for pain. The first guard swung a heavy sticky thon duct, grabbed the man's arm, and twisted, sending him stumbling back. The other guard caught Ethan's jaw with a fist, but Ethan stood his ground, refusing to fall. Lyra's fear cracked. She shouted, "Stop!" End. A trash bin rattled and flew, smashing into the guard's legs. The traitor cursed, stumbling away from the sudden force. Nira, voice trembling, yelled, "Leave us alone!" And a street light above sparked, showering the alley in blue light. The guards hesitated, unsure if they were fighting just one man or something else entirely. Ethan, seeing their shock, pressed his advantage. "You want to hurt someone? You go through me. But you'll never control them again." The traitor growled, but his guards were shaken. One limped away, muttering about cursed twins. The other glared, then turned and vanished into the night. The traitor, alone and furious, spat on the ground. "This isn't over, human. You and your little freaks just made enemies." Ethan said nothing, watching as the traitor disappeared into the dark. He wiped blood from his mouth, turning to the girls. "You did well," he said softly, voice shaking with adrenaline. "But we have to move. Tarek's place isn't far." The girls nodded, their faces shining with sweat and fear, but also relief. For a moment, Ethan just knelt and hugged them both. They clung to him like life rafts in a storm. They hurried the last few blocks, hearts racing. Tarek's workshop was silent, the door hidden behind crates. Ethan tapped a secret code, and after a tense minute, the door opened. A tired, oily alien peered out, eyes wide at the sight of the battered trio. "Ethan, what have you done now? Please, Ethan," begged. "We need to hide, just for tonight." Tarek grumbled, but let them in. "You owe me big, human." Inside, the workshop smelled of oil and metal. Lyra and Nira sank onto a pile of rags, still shaking. Ethan sat beside them, exhaustion heavy in his bones. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "You shouldn't have to fight." This city Lyra cut him off, her voice strong for the first time. "We're not weak. Not anymore." Nira nodded. "With you, we're not alone." Ethan smiled, pride and fear mixing inside him. "We'll rest tonight. Tomorrow, we plan what comes next." Outside, the city still hunted them. But tonight, in the safety of a friend's workshop, Ethan and the twins had survived together. And for the first time, hope felt real. Family, not property. The sun had barely risen when Ethan woke in Tarek's cramped workshop. Oil stains marked the floor, and half-finished machines lay everywhere. But for Lyra and Nira, it was the safest place they'd ever slept. The twins were curled together on a pile of blankets, finally resting with no nightmares to chase them. Ethan stretched his aching body and moved quietly, not wanting to wake them yet. Tarek handed him a mug of bitter tea, shaking his head. "You made a mess, human," the old mechanic said. "People are talking. The market boss is furious. There's a bounty on your head and on theirs." Ethan nodded grimly, like he'd expected. "Nothing less." "Thank you, Tarek. I'll get us out as soon as it's safe." But Tarek looked at the girls, then back at Ethan. "You did the right thing. Doesn't matter what the city thinks. Those kids, they look at you like you're their whole world." Before Ethan could reply, a siren wailed outside. Boots thundered past the shop. Tarek's eyes widened. "They're searching, Ethan. The guards, the market traders, everyone wants those girls back." Inside, Lyra and Nira woke to the noise. Lyra jumped to her feet, heart pounding, ready to run again. Nira grabbed her hand, searching for Ethan's face. Ethan knelt beside them. "We have to go. Now we'll find a way out of the city. I promise, I won't let them take you." Tarek pressed a small card into Ethan's palm. "Underground train, North Tunnel. It's not guarded this early. Take it and disappear. Don't look back." Ethan thanked him, eyes full of gratitude. He gathered the girls, and together, they hurried through secret doors and dark passages. Behind the workshop, they could hear shouts above them, angry voices, heavy boots, but the tunnels below were empty, echoing only with their footsteps and the thundering of their hearts at the train platform. A handful of tired workers watched, them too busy with their own worries to care about three strangers. Ethan squeezed Lyra's shoulder. "Stay close. Don't let go." The train roared out of the dark, its doors hissing open. As they climbed aboard, Nira clung to Ethan's arm. Lyra pressed close on his other side. The city faded away, replaced by the whine of engines and the promise of escape. But freedom never comes easy. Just as the train sped out of the station, a group of market guards burst onto the platform. "There they are," someone shouted. The twins shrank back, fear returning. Like a wave, Ethan stood tall, blocking the guard's view with his body. "You want them? You'll have to go through me," he said, his voice clear and strong. The guards banged on the train doors, but the old machine picked up speed, carrying Ethan and the girls away into darkness. After a long, tense ride, the train reached a quiet station on the city's edge. Ethan led the girls out into the fresh morning air. Above them, the sky stretched wide and blue for the first time in their memory. The city's noise faded behind them, replaced by birdsong and a gentle wind. Lyra and Nira looked at Ethan, faces full of hope and confusion. "Are we safe now?" Nira whispered. Ethan knelt, looking each girl in the eye. "You're free. No one owns you. Not here, not anywhere." Tears shimmered in Lyra's eyes. For so long, she'd dreamed of a day when she could choose her own path. She reached out, shy at first, and hugged Ethan tight. "Thank you," she whispered, voice shaking. Nira joined the hug, her arms wrapping around both of them. For the first time, the twins let themselves believe it may be, just maybe, they were family now. Days passed. Ethan found a small village at the forest's edge, far from the city's cruelty. The people here didn't care about the twins' past. They saw only two girls learning to laugh, learning to run, learning to trust. Ethan worked fixing machines, earning their food. Lyra and Nira helped in the garden, read books, drew pictures, and learned words in English. At night, they listened to Ethan's stories of Earth and the stars. One evening, as they watched the sunset from a quiet hill, Lyra asked the question that had lived in her heart since the auction. "Why did you save us, Ethan? Why didn't you use us like the others?" "Wanted?" Ethan smiled, eyes gentle. "Because you were never property, you're people. You deserve a life, love, and freedom just like anyone." Nira pressed her hand into Ethan's. "Are we your family now?" He hugged them both, tears in his eyes. "Yes, you're my family for as long as you want." Under the wide, starry sky, the twins felt a true belonging. No more chains, no more hiding, only hope. And in the village, as the night fell, no one saw slaves or outcasts. They saw a family, stronger, together than anyone could ever imagine.